Hari Om. Start with a prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pitattvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakhattvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadashi, 7th chapter of Trupti Deepa Prakaranam, and in that we are analyzing now what is the 7 steps that involved, and this is an explanation or the analysis of I am Shabdam in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And what is I am? This for I am Asmiti. So it says I am Asmiti Purushaha. After analyzing Purushaha, he is looking at the word I am and all this elaborate analysis for the word I am. Since I am stands for the indirect knowledge, indirect objectification, so they will explain that there is a Paroksha Jnanam and Aparoksha Jnanam. In the process, he took a little detour, and there are 7 steps involved from going from the Jiva to recognition that Aham Brahmasmi. So the whole analysis involved 7 stages as though is just for classification or codification for the purpose of analysis, not that there are 7 stages that one has to go this stage, that stage. And there in that 7 stages we are talking about Ajnanam, ignorance is the first, number 1, then Avaranam, the covering of or veiling power of the ignorance, and the third Vikshepam, the projecting due to the ignorance, and the next one is the Paroksha Jnanam, then Aparoksha Jnanam, then comes the Soka Vinashanam and the Trupti. Those are the 7 as those steps involved. So we are now looking at the one of the first one, Ajnanam. What is Ajnanam? Aham Asmiti, that Aham Najanami. So I do not know myself. Before the inquiry started, I do not know myself, and that's essentially cause for the ignorance. That is a fundamental ignorance. And najanami iti udasinam vyavaharasya karanam vichara pragabhavena yuktam ajnanam iritam. So ajnanam iritam, this is called najanami iti, is ajnanam iritam. It's called ajnanam or ignorance, and we said it's a fundamental ignorance, not ignorance of anything, ignorance of my own self, which cannot be objectified, ignorance of the subject, and that I don't know myself. And that is the fundamental ignorance. And since I don't know myself, but I know enough of myself, that is a problem. If I don't know completely ignorance, like in any animal or anything, he says there is no problem, and problem is they go through whatever the process. Whereas for a human being, he is not only conscious and self-conscious about it, and he knows that he exists, he knows that he is conscious entity, and therefore he is looking for, not for Sat and not for Chit. He thinks he is unhappy, and as he is, and therefore he is looking for happiness all over. So that is the whole process for the one who wants to inquire. The buddhi is required. So the inquiry is required. So before the inquiry, there is ajnanam. But ajnanam doesn't know unless one inquires also. So there is ignorance of oneself, but he operates without even inquiring whether he has ignorance about himself or not. He doesn't know that I don't know. He thinks he knows, and that's a bigger problem. There is a statement in the I don't know who is the author of that, says the one who doesn't know that one who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. So one he knows not, he doesn't know, and knows not that he knows not. He doesn't know that he doesn't know. That is a bigger problem. And what can he do? You just leave him alone until he comes. He is udasinaha. So he who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. So leave him. Where he who knows not and knows and that he knows not, that's better. At least he doesn't know, but knows that he doesn't know. Therefore, he wants to know, and that is called he's a sadhaka. So teach him. So he who knows not knows, but knows that he knows not is simple. Therefore, teach him. Another one is he who knows not and he who knows and knows not that he knows is a more difficult guy. He says he knows, but he doesn't know that he knows, and therefore he's asleep. Obviously, wake him up. And he who knows and knows that he knows, you have to follow him. That is the teacher. So here, if we are talking about most of the people, he who knows not and knows not that he knows not, he doesn't know that he doesn't know, he doesn't know, and doesn't know that he doesn't know, and well, that means he claims that he knows. And that is the problem with the majority of the humans, and therefore that is what is being analyzed in the next sloka. Amargena vicharyatha nasti nobhati chetyasau viparita vyavahrutihi avrute karyamishyate. Together, amargena vicharyatha nasti nobhati chetyasau viparita vyavahrutihi avrute karyamishyate. So vicharya atha. So now he says, I don't know, the one who knows not and knows not that he knows not. Why he knows not that he knows not? But he thinks he knows. And what does he know? All the confusing knowledge, because there is no proper inquiry to find out. So he assumes he knows. So if you look, everybody has a philosophy. Everybody talks about Vedanta, and everybody talks about they can give hours of lecture. You have varieties of religions and methodologies and so on. You are looking for happiness, you won't get happiness here. If you follow, you will get in heaven. That's what he says. And only if you follow my methodology, you will go to heaven. Otherwise, you go to hell. So follow my religion or my philosophy. Otherwise, the other people, you can kill them also. One fellow says, you follow my religion, you go to heaven. Otherwise, we are going to kill you. Because we have a right to kill you because you are not following my religion. These are all the screwed up, I shouldn't say screwed up, or misguided minds. So, amargena vicharyatha. So, not only amargam, wrong paths. So, vicharyatha. So, which they have inquired into their own way, because without proper inquiry, if you go into proper, so you get a wrong knowledge, and therefore misconceptions are there. So that is more difficult to get rid of. So if everybody comes to a teacher with already preconceived notions about the Ishvara, about the world, and about himself. So he has own theories and comes, oh, teach me now. First, the teacher has a problem because he has to get rid of his previous misconceptions and start again. If you don't have any misconceptions, it's easy to teach. If you have already preconceptions, he will question so many ways, particularly for a rational intellect. Say science says so, or this says so, and he has not understood the science, nor he understands the Vedanta. Because we have lots of these. Stephen Hopkins recently said, I don't know, because he's supposed to be a great scientist, but he just said recently that God did not create this world. God did not create. That is a statement of the great Stephen Hopkins. And then according to him, says nature created it. So who created the nature? He never asked. So nature is nothing but Prakriti. Prakriti is inert. Inert cannot create. But there has to be a conscious entity to do creation. And that he doesn't question it. Because he comes with the the preconceived notions, because his Abrahamic religion has been trained. So there was a God in the top, says he created in 7 days, and so on and so forth. From that point, there is no God did not create. Which God? The God that he has been brought up with, that God did not create. According to him, nature created it. What is the nature? He did never ask. Nature doesn't create by itself. It says, Mayadachena Prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Krishna says, under my guidance, Prakriti does. Prakriti doesn't do otherwise. But even there is the Sankhya philosophy, they think also the same statement what the Stephen Hopkins made. Sankhya made this long time ago. That means the creation is done by the Prakriti. There is no Ishvara there. So we have also similar theories, which now the Stephen Hopkins says, but Sankhya told long time ago. Same thing. So amargena vicharyathan nasti nobhati chet. So because of amargam, margam means not lack of margam, going a wrong path, wrong understanding, vicharyata, by inquiring in the wrong way also, it says na asti nabhati cheti asau. Chet na asti na bhati cha iti asau, chet asau cha iti asau. So there is no God, asti na bhati. He doesn't exist and he cannot be there. That's one way of looking at it. Or there is no Brahman, or there is no infiniteness, or the Brahman cannot be. There are so many philosophical traditions we have even in the Vedantic tradition also. There are 6 Nastikas and 6 Astika philosophers. There are 12 philosophies are available, and 6 Nastikas are there is no Nastika, they don't believe in the scripture as the Pramana. So that's what is Nastika means. And Astika is they take the scripture and propose the philosophies. So we have the 6 Nastikas, that includes Charvaka also. Charvaka is materialist, and there is no God, there is only life. This is the body is there, enjoy the body is dead and is gone. No one has come back after death to say there is something else. So don't believe all that, just enjoy yourself. I don't have money, don't borrow the money. What about returning? Don't worry, that is his problem. So that is how a Charvaka Mata is also, he says Charvaka Muni. So some people interpret Charvaka is because the Prajapati has taught for the Rakshasas for this in order to destroy them. But I don't know. It is like a materialistic philosophy. So where is the consciousness? Consciousness was not there. Material was also there. How did the material come into picture? Don't ask that question. Material was in the concentrated form, therefore a Big Bang occurred. Sir, how did it Big Bang occur? We cannot say. Where did the Big Bang occur? Therefore space and time start with the bang only. They can only talk about the millionth of a second after the bang, and also matter after the bang only, but before the bang they cannot. They call it singularity. Science calls it singularity, means you cannot ask any more questions. We don't know. That's exactly what it is. Now how did the consciousness come into picture? They are investigating consciousness now. Objective scientists are trying to objectify consciousness, but Vedanta says you cannot objectify consciousness because the very inquirer is conscious entity. So even before you inquire, there has to be conscious entity has to be there to inquire. So even before anything starts, consciousness has to be there, and that's what. Therefore, consciousness was the infinite that was there before, and matter came later. That is the Vedantic concept. And therefore, amargena vicharyatha. So the after inquiring in the wrong way, amargena, they say nasti nobhati ched cha iti asau. So this essentially is taken that there is no existence, there is no God or there is no superpower, there is no pure Brahman, and there is no creator, and there is no existence at all. And viparita vyavahrutihi. So viparita vyavariti. So essentially a contradictory understanding of the absolute truth. Contradictory for what? Is Vedanta is another philosophy? Vedanta is not a philosophy. It is only teaches you what is the truth. Whether you believe it or not. If you don't believe, that's okay. It doesn't care for it. It doesn't go knock everybody's house. Hey, if you don't believe in Vedanta, you go to hell and all that. We don't care. They don't care. Therefore, you have to approach a teacher in order to know. So the same way. So this is viparita vyavahrutihi. Therefore, it is the viparitam. Viparita means contradictory theories about the nature of the reality, about the nature of the jiva, about the nature of the creation, and about the nature of the purpose of life itself. What is the purpose of life? You say, what is happiness? If you go to Google, there are different theories of happiness and how one can be happy and all that. One can give a big list of theories, and everybody has a theory how one can be more happy and so on and so forth. Whereas the scripture says you are already happy. You are searching for what you already have. So this is a viparita vyavahrutihi. So vyavahrutihi is vyavaharam. Viparitam is contradictory, and contradictory understanding. Avrutihi. This is called avruti. Karyam iti ishade. This is the product of the veiling power. What is veiling power? He doesn't say. It is avruteha karyam. So from the effect, we are looking at the cause. What is the cause? Ignorance. Ignorance doesn't do anything, but the ignorance covers the truth. That's why our all philosophy is every truth is covered by ignorance. So chemistry knowledge is there, but it's covered by ignorance. So what does do? You uncover. Uncover means remove the cover only, because it's already there. So that's called science. That's what scientists called. He discovered. Discovered means removing the cover, and removing the cover can only occur by a pramana. Pramana means means of knowledge. Means of knowledge uncovers removes the ignorance. Then what do we have to do? Nothing, because it is of the nature of revealing. So the goddess Saraswati comes down to you automatically if you remove the ignorance. What you have to do is make an effort to remove appropriate ignorance, not any ignorance, appropriate ignorance for the nature of the knowledge. If I don't know chemistry, I have to remove the chemistry ignorance in order to gain the chemistry knowledge. So for that, I have to approach chemistry teacher only, not a biology teacher. Biology teacher may know some chemistry, but to have a chemistry knowledge, I have to approach chemistry teacher and chemistry shastram, and I get in the process of learning, what am I removing by the process is removing the ignorance, discovering. Discover means remove the cover of the ignorance is removed by a pramana. Pramana is means of knowledge. Means I have to learn properly for that knowledge. So any knowledge will have a pramana and prameyam and pramata. And this is what has to be understood here. Viparita vyavahrutihi avrutehi. So there is a covering of the knowledge. So knowledge is always there. Ignorance is covering. So we have to remove by using a pramana. Pramana only can remove the cover. Ignorance can only be removed by a pramana, means of knowledge. So for the chemistry ignorance, we are removing the chemistry pramana is required. For self-ignorance, you need a self-knowledge to remove. That removes the ignorance. Then what do you have to do? Nothing to do. It is self-revealing. The palasruti is, palavyapti is not there, whereas in the chemistry case, there is a palam, the fruit that I am gaining knowledge of chemistry. All that will be discussed here. But here he is emphasizing that there is a viparitam. There is not only I don't know, and I don't know that I don't know, and in the process I claim I know, and that is because of viparitam. That is means contradictory knowledge is established. So everyone has his own philosophy and his own the understanding of what is there and what he is doing and so on and so forth. And it's difficult to unless you discover that I don't know, please teach me that. That's why tad vijnanartham sa gurum eva vigachet. Who has to know? Who has analyzed it? Pariksha Lokam. Pariksha means examination. So one who examined his own life and says, I am going in the wrong way and I need to find a proper way, and therefore once the mind is mature enough, you will be in fact led to a proper teacher also. That's according to Vedanta. You don't have to go and look for a teacher. Teacher shall come in an appropriate time when your mind is ready. That is the Vedantic, the way of saying that the appropriate teacher will come when you have a questioning mind. Mind wants to inquire about the truth, then appropriate teacher shall come. That is the law of nature. And therefore here is emphasizing what is the avruti, covering. Covering is emphasized in terms of the effect of the covering is what essentially here it says viparita knowledge. That 36. Now we go to next sloka. So what happens in the viparita knowledge? It says dehadvaya chidabhasa rupo vikshepa iritaha रूपो विक्षेप ईरितः कर्तृत्वाजखिलम् अखिलः शोकम् कर्तृत्वाजखिलः शोकः संसाराख्यस्य बन्धकः देहद्वयचिदाभासा रूपो विक्षेप ईरितः कर्तृत्वाजखिलः शोकः samsarakyesya bandhakaha. So chidabhasa with dehadvaya. So dehadvaya, two bodies. Chidabhasa, the conditioned consciousness with the two bodies is vikshepaha, is a projection. So here we are talking about two bodies. What is the two bodies? There is a gross body and there is a subtle body. There is a third body also, that is the causal body, but here he is mentioning about, since the transactions are talking about vyavahara, so transactions are done in these two states. What are the two states? One is the gross body, sthula sariram, and then the sukshma sariram, the subtle body. So antahkarana, subtle body, and the gross body. Gross body is Annamaya Kosha, and subtle body is Pranamaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya Koshas. All together come under a subtle body, and the Karana Sarira, the causal body. So what is the death? Is nothing but the Sukshma Sarira along with the Karana Sarira moves away from the Sthula Sarira. Sthula Sarira is only gross body, comes from the product of Annam only. So Annat Bhavanti Bhutani. So from Annam, that means from the food, it is born out of food, sustained by food, and goes back to become a food only. So that's called Annamaya Kosha, and therefore that is Sthula Sariram. So Dehadvayam, two Dehas, Sthula and Sukshma. Chidabhasaha. So the conditioned consciousness operating these two levels, one is the gross body and another is the subtle body. Dehadvaya Vikshepaha Iritaha. This is called Vikshepa Iritaha. It's called Vikshepa, the projection of the gross and subtle bodies is called the Vikshepa. Not only projection, but I am the gross body and I am the subtle body is part of Viparita Jnanam. You remember in the previous sloka, he is talking about I don't know myself, but I am also taking what I am not as myself. What I am not as myself, this body, and this is both the Sthula Sariram, Dehadvayam, what Krishna calls it as Kshetram, field, says this Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetravich Abhidiyate. Kshetram is field of experience, and that includes Dehadvayam. So Dehadvayam Chidabhasa Rupaha Vikshepa Iditaha. It's called Vikshepa. So that part is the Vichapa. So we are talking about the ignorance and Avarana and then Vikshepa. Vikshepa is taking the two bodies that I am, that is essentially I am the body, mind, intellect. That's BMI. And then what happens if I take body, mind, intellect? Body, mind, intellect are Desa Kala Vastu Parichinnam. When it is limited by space-wise, time-wise and object-wise. This body is different from that body, and therefore this is my body and that body is not my body. And therefore every body is different, and therefore Parichinnam is the division or identification or the notion of limitation. That's called Parichinnam. Therefore, I am limited by this body. I am here and I am not there. Therefore, I am space-wise limited because body is limited by space, and time-wise limited because body is born at a particular time and body lives at a particular time. So it's only date of birth and date of that, only dash between that. So this is dashing between the birth, the womb to the tomb, and there is nothing much to say there. And here it is essentially the Deha, Sthula Sariram. So Dehadvaya, so this is all what Krishna calls it Kshetram. So Chidabhasa Rupo Vikshepa, that's called Vikshepa. Vikshepa means a projection that I am this starting from the body. Since the body is limited and I am actually, my true nature is infinite, I don't like the limitations of the body or the mind or the intellect, so I want to solve the problem. Where is the problem? Because I want to be infinite. But the problem is, I feel I am limited because I am identifying myself with the body, mind, intellect, which are limited, space-wise, time-wise, object-wise, and I want to solve the problem. Solving a problem by what? By gaining that one. For that, I need to work. Because I am not there and I want to go there and do that, and I want this, I want that. So action becomes a problem. Therefore, Kartrutva Jakhilaha. So I have to perform an action, and action is performed with expecting some results. Results may come to my satisfaction or may not come completely my satisfaction. I am unhappy or I am partially happy. I am not completely satisfied. It's okay. So I want 100%. I only got 75%. So I am unhappy. The other fellow was looking for 60%, but say he got 70% also, but he is very happy. So it depends upon the happiness, unhappiness, depending upon my expectations, and the expectations are not fulfilled. So whole life he is trying to expectations from others. I want to expect from here, I expect from him, and nobody is meeting my expectations. Are you meeting their expectations? Don't ask me that. So it's always problem or complaint is only others are not meeting my expectations. That's because of Kartrutva Bhava and Bhoktrutva Bhava. So Kartrutva Jakhilaha Akilaha Sokaha. So all the Sokaha, the suffering or crying, is because of the notion that I am a doer. Why am I getting a doer notion? Because I am a limited and there is infinite. I am only a small guy in this whole universe. I want this, everybody wants something. Everybody complains about others. And all the time this goes on day in and day out. Aminyo sayam pratah sasiravasanto punarayata. Day in and go out, people keep complaining. Kartrutva akila soka, that's what is soka. Soka means sorrow. That's called samsarakyasya bandhaka. So samsarakya. So this is called samsara. So asya bandhaka. Therefore it is his bondage. Asya means it is bondage of him. Who is that him here? Asya is that Chidabhasa. The one who is conditioned consciousness has this problem, because not the Sakshi. Sakshi doesn't have any problem. Sakshi is pure existent consciousness, all pervading, infinite. He doesn't have even creation, no ajnana, nothing. It's only at the transaction level, and transaction level only because I am identifying myself that I am this, I am this, I am this. I am is a subject and this is an object, but subject-object confusion is there, and confusion is because of the ignorance. That is a fundamental ignorance. When I say I am this, obviously ignorance is evident. Because when I say I am existent consciousness, and this is inert things, and very equation itself shows that I don't know who I am. So that very equation is the indication that I do not know myself, and that is where the kartruttvadya kila sokaha samsaraikya asya bandhakaha. So the bondage belongs to whom? Bondage belongs to the Chidabhasa. Why Chidabhasa has bondage? Because ignorance belongs to him. So ignorance belongs to Chidabhasa. Who is ignorant? I am ignorant. Who is that I am? Conditioned consciousness is ignorant. So we're going to analyze more about this. Who has ignorance also? Let's take the next sloka. Ajnanamavrutis chaite Ajnanamavrutis chaite Vikshepat prak prasidhyataha Vikshepat prak prasidhyataha Yajyapyathaapyavastete Yajyapyathaapyavastete Vikshepanyaiva natmanaha Vikshepanyaiva natmanaha. So who has the ignorance? That's a question being analyzed in the, it says conditioned consciousness, Chidabhasa has ignorance and not the Atma. So I don't have the ignorance. I standing for pure Brahman. Brahman doesn't have ignorance. So it says here, Brahman doesn't have, na Atmanaha. Atmana means the pure I am does not have the ignorance. Who has ignorance? Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa means reflected consciousness. Reflected cannot occur without the reflecting medium. So reflected consciousness with the buddhi has the ignorance. But reflected consciousness, buddhi cannot occur unless the original consciousness is there. So all the three packages are there. So in the three packages, for the time being we say the ajnana is with the Chidabhasa. As for being the is emphasized here in the next sloka. Ajnanam avrutam cha ete. So ajnanam avrutam, this is the ignorance and the avruti. Avrutam is veiling power. Ajnanam and the veiling power. These are the two before the vikshepa. Vikshepa is projection. Projection of I am this. So Jiva notion came with the projection. So here is an interesting statement. It says the ignorance and the covering up are there before the identification that I am a Jiva. That's what being emphasized here. Ajnanam avrutascha ete vikshepat prak prasidhyataha. Before the projection or before the identification that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the intellect, before itself means before the Jiva notion, there is ajnanam and avrutam. That was the statement. Yajyapyadhapyavastete vikshepanyaiva natmanaha. So yajyapi, even though vikshepat prak, even though the before identification that I am a Jiva, even before that, ajnana avrutam cha, it says ete, these two are there prasidhyataha, they are known to be there. I mean, even before the identification or a Jiva notion that I am this is a notion, that notion comes first. After that is the vikshepa is called projection. Projection came, but before projection, ignorance and the covering up are there. Yajyapyadhapyavastete vikshepa naivanatmanaha. So this belongs to, this is, so athapi, even though, te avaste, these stages, vikshepasya eva na atmanaha. This not for the atma. This projection is not for the atma, but only for the Chidabhasa, for the Jiva only. So here is the problem. What is the problem? Jiva was not there. Jiva was there only after identification that I am this. But ignorance and the avarana was there. So who has the ignorance and who has the, where it is covered, to whom it is covered? For Jiva only. But Jiva was not there. This is a fundamental question even Bhagavan Ramanuja asked in terms of avidya of the Advaita. So here he raises the same question here. This is, even though it was not there, Jiva was not there, the ignorance doesn't belong to the Atma, it belongs to the Jiva only. This has to be understood. How can it belong to Jiva when he is not there? That's going to be addressed in the next sloka. This we call it 39. Vichepotpattitaha purvam Vichepotpattitaha purvam Apivichepa samsrutihi Astyaiva tadavastatvam aviruddham tatastayoho together. Vichepotpattitah purvam apivichepa samsrutihi astyaiva tadavastatvam aviruddham tatastayoho. So vichepaha utpattitaha. So vichepa utpattitaha purvam. So how can there be purvam before the vichepa, the projection or the jiva notion has come before the identification of a jivahood. So before the jivahood, utpattitaha api vichepa samsrutihi asti eva. It says vichepa samsrutihi, the samskara of a jivahood is there even before. Even though jiva notion has not identified or crystallized that I am this is not crystallized yet, but the ignorance and the covering up is there as the samskara or samsruti, means its impression is there in the mind in the subtle form. It says that's what samsrutihi. Samskriti, a jivahood impression that I am a jiva is there, and when did the jiva impression? That's also anadi only. Therefore it is beginningless. So you cannot ask when did it start that I am not knowing this. It is also beginning, avidya is also beginning, and covering is also from the beginningless. There is no beginning. And therefore here it is the samsruti. Where did it come? From the previous life. From the previous life, I have notion that I am a jiva and I am operating with that, and I pass, and before again I identify with the new body and so on, I already have that lack of knowledge, and that samskara is there. When did it start? It doesn't start. Actually it doesn't start. Why? Because it's beginningless. Ajnana is anadi. And therefore avarana is also anadi. Therefore vichepa is also anadi. So everything is beginningless all the way. So therefore jiva is also anadi. And therefore vichepa utpattitaha purvam api vichepa samsrutihi. The samskara of that is there before. So it says essentially astyaiva tadavastatvam. Tad avastatvam. So that the state of this conditioning was there even before. So therefore aviruddham, there is no contradiction here. So I am not contradicting in the statement that even though it is before the jivahood is crystallized, you say how can it be jiva only is the locus for it, you are saying, not the atma. How can you make a statement because there is no jiva there? Says I am not contradicting because the jiva notion was there even before its crystallization. Therefore there is a jiva notion before itself. When did it jiva notion started? It's also anadi. Therefore when did the first vasana started? Therefore it's anadi. Therefore this statement of anadi, what is the locus of jiva? Is it really the Brahman or is it jiva? This question is raised very systematically by Bhagavan Ramanuja in his Sri Bhashya, called 7 untenables against Advaita, avidya of the Advaita. We will try to take some of the aspects of what are the objections by Bhagavan Ramanuja and where the problem is in that objection, and how the Advaita is addressing that, and why the Ramanuja doesn't accept those things also we will raise. And here Vidyaranya points out this. Automatically here there is a samskara of that jivahood even before. Therefore I am saying that Jiva is the locus for it. And also he will tell Brahman is also locus also. So he is not going to do contradiction here, but how he justifies we will see in the next talk. With this we stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.